that is the starting point. What kind of justice do you want? And many of them actually say, you know what, we want acknowledgement. We want it to be recognised what has happened to us. We actually represent some individuals, for example, from the Lebanese civil war more than 40 years ago, and they are still asking for that. They will not get to court, but that's what they want. And we should never underestimate that importance, and that acknowledgement also assists them potentially to go through different justice processes. I want to give you just some examples and building what's in your book. And wow, I recommend that you read it because I've read some of the chapters. Congratulations, Tony. I know it's been a huge piece of years of your life, I think. So a big shout out to you. I think what we've heard from Howard this morning that international law on representing victims who want international justice has always been difficult, but let's face it, it's got a lot harder. Okay, it's never been easy. Whereas the forefront, I think also national courts have a strong role to play. We heard that from Chunkin in the Argentina case, in the use of universal jurisdiction. My question as I sit here in the UK, and I talk in many different countries, why is the UK not doing more? Why are they not investigating and prosecuting international crimes right here? So the national courts must be an option for victims and survivors, as well as regional courts. We represent Tigrayan victims for the African Commission, and we won the first provisional measures against Ethiopia for the violations that they suffered during conflict. And we go to a full merits hearing this year. I faced Ethiopia at the court last year. Now, I just want to give an example from your book, actually, talking about Myanmar and the role that transnational networks can play. And when you have frontline organisations working with victims, when you have the UN and member states ready to stand up, what difference can we see? So on the 12th of January, just a few weeks ago, I sat as part of the Gambia delegation against Myanmar on the breach of the Genocide Convention. There we had a victims delegation sat at the ICJ. First LGBTQI person we brought from Cox's Bazar to sit in the court and listen for 3 weeks to what Myanmar had to say. And that, I can tell you, is not easy. All of them had suffered from sexual violence. All of them had had members of their family killed. And as you said, you don't just become a survivor overnight. That takes years of that process to be there. Secondly, witnesses gave evidence.